So I'm here at the beautiful Rideau Canal Skateway, and I'm here for two things. Go for a nice skate and get some exercise, but also to test out the Sony Power Zoom 18-105 lens. But first, I have to strap on the skates. And hopefully, I remember how to skate, because we're gonna skate on the ice. You know what, let's wish me luck. Okay, let's start off with some information. This is not my lens. I'm borrowing it from a photographer friend. The lens is a few years old and it has been beaten up, as you will see. There's lots of scratches. However, the lens still works great. So I'm pretty excited to test out this lens. I've had a bunch of different lenses for the Sony cameras, and I actually use a very similar lens at work on a Sony FS5. But for my own personal use, I have a bunch of prime lenses and a couple zoom lenses, but this one's a little bit different. Everyone talks about how this is the ultimate zoom lens, or the power zoom lens, for any videographer or photographer. So we're gonna find out just how good it is. The Sony Power Zoom 18-105 is an aps-c camera lens, which goes great with any Sony 6000 series camera. On my Sony a6400, this lens becomes equivalent to around 27 to 158-ish millimeter lens, which is great if you're trying to zoom in on a subject. You can even get closer if you use the Sony Clear Zoom. Just be careful that it doesn't affect the quality too much. Now, a lot of people love the fact that this lens has a constant aperture of f4, which is great. A lot of zoom lenses do not have a constant aperture. For me personally, I do find f4 just to be not open far enough. I love using my Sigma lenses, as I mentioned, which are f1.4, but hey, this is a zoom lens, so you gotta give and take a bit. So far I am enjoying using it. I'm on a bright sunny day here, so I have an ND filter on this bad boy because it is sunny and it is glaring. However, I do not have a polarizer, so polarizer might have been a pretty good idea on a day like today, but that's okay. All right, before I continue, I should mention that this lens has a filter thread of 72 mil. Now, why is that important? Well, actually, it's not important really, but I'm also testing out a new variable ND filter for this lens. And it's causing me some problems with vignetting around the corners, and when I shoot at max ND, it really causes the problems. So if you're wondering what's up with the vignetting on some of the shots, well, there you go. So a couple things I really do like about this lens is how light it is. It's not really big, it's not really small, it's kind of right in the middle, I guess. But the fact that it's light and it's not too big, you can slap it on a gimbal, which is great. I love using the a6400 on a gimbal, which is fantastic. And because it has an internal zoom, meaning the lens and stuff doesn't move when you're zooming in and out, it's really good on a gimbal. It won't force you to have to rebalance that poor gimbal, because no one wants to rebalance a gimbal with a lens, right? So that's great. I'm glad they did that. Now, it does have the power zoom function, which is fantastic for videographers, but it's also good for still photography as well. But as a videographer, I really appreciate the power zoom. It really gets you a nice, consistent, and slow zoom if you want to use that. And also lets you just move in slightly, make a very, very subtle move sometimes, which is very nice. Sometimes that's pretty hard when you do it manually. This lens has an OSS, or an optical steady shot. So let's test out some handheld footage. It's pretty decent, although it looks a lot better on a gimbal. Okay, now I have the lens set up on the camera and on a homemade kind of stabilizer thing. Now, the lens does have an OSS on it, so that does help a little bit, but this camera does not. So this might be a little bit shaky. The rig looks pretty decent, but I'm not sure how well it's staying with me. Who knows? Maybe you can vlog with us. Okay, we're testing out the autofocus on this as I move up and close on skates and try not to knock into the tripod, knock the camera over, break the lens, break the camera, all that good stuff. It's kind of scary when I get close up, eh? How's it following me though? Can't really tell right now, it's too sunny out. So let's move around and see if you can follow me. Here we go. So the autofocus, stay with me. Is it on me right now? Am I nice and crisp? I mean, I'm in general kind of blurry, but that's just me. But hopefully I'm nice and crisp, because that would be awesome if this lens and its autofocus works real well. So we've been seeing a lot of video, and I get that I like to take video, but this lens does take some pretty good photos, and I bet you a lot of people love it for photos. Even though it has a power zoom for videos, I bet you a lot of people love this lens for photos. So let's take some photos, shall we? Okay, so after using this for about an hour, maybe 2 hours here on the ice, I gotta say this lens has won me over. I wasn't sure. I do still love my prime lenses, but the fact that this power zoom gives you a lot in one little package is pretty darn good. So I may have to add this to my arsenal or my kit. Hopefully it's something that I'll really enjoy in the summertime on hikes and camping and those kinds of things. So yeah, I guess I changed my mind a little bit. I wasn't sure about this lens because everyone was really talking it up. But in the end, it won me over. It's a love story. Thanks, lens. See you guys. Thanks for watching.